So what is design history? Yes, sir. डिजाइन का डेफिनेशन पता है, हिस्ट्री का डेफिनेशन पता है, तो डिजाइन हिस्ट्री तो इजी है. Anything that you were able to come up with?
No, not yet. I'm thinking.
Okay. Please share whatever you have written. There is no judgment. Practices by different cultures. Very nice. Backstory. Backstory of certain design. Evaluation of certain design. Evolution of design.
Different methods of leading or different methods of evolution.
Different methods of evolution. Okay. What else? अभी सब लंच या कुछ खा पी के आए, सब भूल गए. Come on.
Changes in perspective of how we see the world.
Right, changes of perspectives. Okay, how we see. What else?
Progressing from the void.
Design voids. Design voids. Progress. Okay. What else?
To give a simple definition, anything and everything which is recorded in the past.
Very nice. So you literally merged everything, anything and everything which is recorded in the past. Okay, that's design history. Everything recorded in the past. Yes. Okay. Okay. And again, like always, all of you are right. Okay. None of you is wrong. A basic naive definition would be a historical study of objects of design. Right? It's the study of objects. We'll try to kind of evaluate the evolution of, let's say, this particular recording camera. Right? We can trace 100 years back how these recording cameras were. If you remember, like in your parents' wedding, there was one guy with this camera, like, you know, recording. And you would see, like, you know, things, everything that you would record, like some wedding event, people eating the food, now he would record, and so many other things. Have you seen your parents' cassette? Right? So there's a huge recording. Before that, that luxury was only for the few, because the size of the camera was really, really huge. So one thing is for sure, that in all these years, technology have strength design into this form. Pick your phone and you'll see that there are at least 20 distinct devices in one phone. Right? Now we have the scanner also. I'm sure that many of you use Adobe scanner or Cam scanner or whatever. So we have a scanner also, and sooner or later we are going to get a printer also. It is there, but we cannot afford it as of now. So we can see historical study of objects of design is design history. Now there is a debate whether design is a noun or as an object, which we discussed in the understanding of design, or a process. Right? So cultural history of design, which first definition came from here, could be like in the material culture. You go to a museum. You are from Bhopal, have you seen travel museum? Right. So if you go to a city which has museum like Bhopal, a lot of museums, you would find what? Cultural history of things there. If you go to Delhi, if you ever visit National Crafts Museum, what are you going to see there? Cultural history of artifacts and so many other things. Right? Second is history of design systems and ethical context. And what is this ethical context? This context could be anything, like design thinking, like business thinking. Right? So you are seeing design not as an object, but design as a process. How design changes economy. How design changes the place identity. How design can change my city. So for example, if you are doing city branding exercise, what you are doing there, you are trying to see design as a city identity process. Right? Design here is not just an object, or the signages which are placed in different parts of the city, but it's also a method to change the city. Now, design history is also a bit of art history. Why? Because design is also a big part of art. It's industrial design history, it's cultural history, it's a history of technology. Like we discussed, when we are going to discuss design of this camera, the technology is inevitable, right? Many of you have these phones, and these phones have what? Processors. Any phone geek here who knows about the processor, Snapdragon, or this iCore, that core, or let's talk about the cameras, basic things, 48 megapixels, 12 megapixel, 1 megapixel. So when I was your age, it was not even 1 megapixel. In fact, there was no camera in the phone. To have a camera in the phone was a big deal. It's difficult for you to imagine. I mean, you guys are what, 19 or 20 or 18?
Yes.
Right?
20.
Half of my age. So, it's very difficult for you to imagine. So this you can know through history. I have known through my life. That's the difference. Material culture studies. What design has value in life? Right? So earlier when we represent youth, 100 years back, a university going youth, what will they have in their hand? What will they have in their hand? If I may take this. A notebook. Like your grandfather's age, you find those people who are carrying good books, like going to university. Right? And now you'll find people with a bag and with a phone. So this is our default this thing. So when you paint, let's say, a persona from this particular 2023, you'll have one student with a phone and a bag. 100 years back, it was just a pen. Pen was a big deal, and a notebook. That's it. So just see that how the value of design has changed in our life. The objects that we have. The objects in our homes have also increased. 50 years back, there were very, very few objects in our homes. Right? Right now, if you go back home, what do you have? Do you have a mixer or mixer grinder? 50 years back, it was not there. Do you have a fridge? Not there. Do you have a color TV?
Yes.
Obviously. Do you have a bed? 100 years back, it was not there. The bed was there only for the few. People were sleeping on the floor. Okay, now on to this one stimulating question to you. What is Hindi translation or any indigenous translation of the word chair? Do you think kursi is Hindi? Which language is kursi? Batao. No, it's close to Urdu. Farsi. What is Hindi word for chair? हिंदी पढ़ी क्या? या कोई भी लोग So who said asan? Who said asan? You said asan? Actually, asan is the closest. The thing with asan is that when we say asan, it doesn't have any object in it. Asan means a position. Right? But when we add a prefix, you understand what is prefix? You understand what is a prefix? So let's call it Simhasan. It becomes a chair. Okay, but Simhasan is not a chair. Yes, it was only given to only few rich people or powerful people. Right? So we don't have a translation for chair in our languages because There was no chair. So chair as an object in our house, in our life, is also 100 years old. Okay? Or perhaps 400. But only few had the chair. That's why when we have the chair design history, you try to trace, you'll not find much. Only with the emperors you will find chair. Chair is a big deal. That's why there's a chairperson, chairman in the committee. Everyone sits on the chair in the committee, right? Everyone has a chair. It does not mean that everyone else is sitting on the floor. But chair is an object of power. Another interesting thing with this particular design is chair is an object, right? When we are seeing this yellow chair, let's see that yellow chair. It's an object. Just sit over that chair. Sit over that chair. Now chair is a space. So chair is also one of the smallest space which our body can embrace or adapt to. So it's a very interesting thing. But unfortunately, chair in India is a foreign object. We don't have chair design tradition. And similarly, what other thing that we do not have? A great design tradition? Cutlery. Forks, chammach. Do we have a cutlery design tradition in India? Why? हाथ से क्यों खाते थे? Yes, one by one. Yes. Touch होता है philosophical के नाम क्या?
Food is supposed to be connected with whatever.
Okay, philosophical argument. Functional argument क्या है? हाथ से क्यों खाते थे? Value based argument. Functional argument क्या है? There was? Yeah, I mean, of course there was. Wait one. Sir.
उन्होंने बताया कि चम्मच जो होती है वो दूसरे के मुंह में भी गई होती है।
नहीं ये सब नहीं, स्वामी विवेकानंद कभी यूं नहीं गए, यूरोपियन पार्लियामेंट नहीं गए, ही वेंट टू शिकागो।
हाथ होते खुद के होते हैं, तो उससे खाना पवित्र होता है।
Okay, मतलब ये सब का वैल्यू बेस्ड आर्गुमेंट है. We may disagree or not, but this is a functional argument. Why we eat by hand? बहुत essential चीज है, because our food is hot. Often our food is hot. So when we pick things by hand, we know the temperature. We are prepared to take it in. गरम खाना खाते हैं हम लोग, इसलिए हमको वो सेंसर्स देता है. इट्स लाइक अवर सेंसर. तो सेंसर बनाते हैं ना, जैसे स्कूल ऑफ IoT, वहाँ सेंसर बनता है यहाँ पे पास में, राइट? योर फूड इज, सो योर माइंड इज प्रिपेयर टू टेक दैट, एंड विद दैट ऑल अदर थिंग्स लाइक टच, वैल्यू, पवित्रता, ऑल दोस थिंग्स कम, राइट? ऑल दोस थिंग्स आल्सो करेक्ट, बट द एसेंशियल थिंग इज दैट दैट फूड इज हॉट. In the West, the food is cold and often not cooked, and often they eat lot of meat, and you cannot cut the meat just like that. You need certain design, you need certain instruments to cut it. Forks, knife, spoons, they are those instruments, right? But in some case, we have an amazing tradition of what? Where we have been sitting? Floor. फ्लोर में क्या कर सकते हैं? मिर्जापुर नाम सुना है? मिर्जापुर एक सीरीज आया था, उसमें कौन था? कालीन भैया थे ना. So we have an amazing tradition of कालीन, amazing tradition of textiles. You been to Calico Museum here?
Yes.
So we have amazing tradition of textiles and carpets, which the West doesn't have. Show me a country in the West which has amazing traditional carpets. No one. Iran has. Iran has also been sitting on carpets and also chairs. That's why they have a word known as kursi. Yeah? Yeah. You can say that. But it is west of India. It is west of India.
Sir, also in the East.
Yeah, Japan maybe like, if you go to, have you been to Japan or have you seen Japanese movies?
Yes.
Not anime. Okay, not manga. Not anime, not manga. I'm talking about general movies.
Yeah.
So you would see that there are a lot of carpets, especially made out of bamboo.
Yeah.
Right? So they have amazing bamboo because it was their natural material, natural choice. And that's their design history. Right? Now, when we become students, when we become scholars, we take all these subjects and then we say, yaar, iska India mein kuch hai hi nahi. You have to analyze culturally and you have to analyze historically that what are our strengths, and then only you will evaluate. Right? Okay. I have 12 minutes. So what is design history? Design history, so I have taken one definition just to save my time and your time also. Design history seeks to understand design in historical context. Chair को evaluate करना है, so you have to evaluate historical context also. You cannot be unfair to India कि यहाँ chair नहीं है, right? As conditioned by and bearing evidences of time and place where or which it was undertaken and produced. Or simply, if I may say, the study of objects of design and processes in a particular historical context. Right? This is acceptable? कुछ objects होंगे, कुछ systems होंगे और एक particular time होगा जिसमें हम will study. That's the design history. Now, what do design historians do? We don't have time, so I'll not ask you to write this. But just quickly, what they do? First is that they come here at Ananda University and teach this class. Okay. So at least one thing is there. But this is very, very, very narrow opportunity. Not everyone will get that opportunity. It's a very narrow, very time and very. Like he asked me, what do you teach? I said communication design, graphic design, typography. That's also my forte. Okay, very much like design history. So इससे तो भैया पेट नहीं भरेगा. What else you can do? So design historians are also researchers. They do two kinds of studies. One is empirical studies. What do you mean by empirical studies? Yeah. So it's creating new knowledge. You go to the site, you do research, and you come up with some results. Right? That's empirical research. Secondary studies. Internet पे बैठे Google Scholar. There's a thing known as Google Scholar. You know? Yeah. Or at your level, you guys are थोड़ा छोटा हो. I'm like, this is too much for you perhaps. Wikipedia पे गए? अभी तो Chat GPT आ गया. How many of you use Chat GPT? Beware guys, Chat GPT is dumb and it will make you dumb. I talked to my mother, she knows at least 20 phone numbers. She's 74. She remembers 10-digit phone numbers just like this. My father doesn't use calculator. He is in LIC. He was in LIC, Life Insurance Corporation. You tell your annual income, he'll tell you the insurance. Right? Some mental calculator. And हम क्या है वो मोबाइल फोन में अच्छा है कहाँ गया calculator, CALC लिखते हैं, then we find this calculator. So we have become dumb with technology. So same with ChatGPT. ChatGPT, avoid. Right? It's good. It's good to discover something and then claim it is my work, but it's not. So design historians, they also do a bit of secondary research, but the real secondary research. Okay, not ChatGPT. And then the most important part is theoretical work. So we categorize things, right? We compare things. We classify things that this is what, this is what, this is what, right? For example, if you do, let's say, one survey in your class, what would be categorization? Let's say helpfulness is the categorization. So you do some experiment. What's your name? Swasti. What's your name? Gracie. Crazy or? Gracie. Gracie and Swasti. So Gracie gives $100 to Swasti. And what's your name? Nandini. Okay. So Nandini says that Swasti is not imandar nahi, she is not honest. So Gracie says, let me do an experiment. So she'll do an experiment, right? You give $100 and then say कि इसको ज़रूरत थी and then she मुझे एक हफ्ते में लौटा रही है. She returns back, right? And then you show that she returned $100. So this is empirical study. You are doing experiment, right? This is something which you have done, which you have experienced yourself. So that is empirical study. That is primary studies. Now Nandini says, I studied in literature. What's your name? मुझे राधिका ने बताया था that Swasti is not honest. Right? So this is secondary source. Right? Now she says, oh, I know, there are secondary ways also to knowing things. There are primary ways of knowing things. And what you can do, Gracie can repeat this experiment with everyone in the class. What's your name? Shushti. What's your name? Shushti Anusha को 100 रुपए दिए. Anusha ने नहीं लौटाए, इसने लौटाए. Then she can come up with a data. Who returns or who doesn't return, or who return with interest, or who even forget that I have taken that money. So what she can do, she can come up with 4 or 5 categories. Right? She can come up with 4 or 5 categories, and that is what theorization is. Right? You got the point? This is a very basic research I can teach. Now let's look into the professional work. You go to a museum. Museum is curated into certain things. There are certain things which are organized and all. That's done by design historians. So the people who are interested in exhibition design, museums, design history is that one particular field where you have to be very, very serious. You can make a lot of money. Right? Second is media. I'm sure that many of you would be very interested in writing also. Do you have a magazine here? A student magazine here? अरे करो यार, क्या कर रहे हो तुम लोग? Start a student magazine. I'm sure there are so many people who don't like ChatGPT to write things. Do you write? How many of you write just like that? Come on man, you come together and start a magazine. Yes. कोई बोल भी नहीं रहा है. Yes sir. Yes sir. Start a magazine. At least an online blog. So where do you have this creative expression there? You guys are on Facebook? I'm sure no. Why would you go there? Your parents are there. You guys on Twitter?
Yes.
Twitter is not the place because it's so small. 144 characters or 288 characters now. Instagram?
Yes.
But you just click hashtag publish. Share. You don't write there. So where do you write?
Medium.
Medium. And LinkedIn. Yes, you write. You're right. You write. I'm not feeling like a design historian. I'm feeling like a coach, like an inspirational coach, motivational coach. But come on, यार लोगों कैसा design लोगों यार तो हमारी student magazine नहीं है. Next time when I come, I should see that student magazine. Okay. And then there is a third opportunity in teaching. Here. Right? But the most important, which everyone is going to be, is to become designer. When you are a designer, you are also a design historian. If you are designing a chair, you know what kind of chairs have already been made. And when you go back to that statement that anything that you design has to be worthy of coming to this world, you'll automatically become very conscious. What can you learn? Not just successes, not just products, but also failures. So it's very important to study the failures of designers, which you never teach. Because there is no choice, there is no glory story there. In the failures. But failures are important to study. Right? Because in failures you can find someone said opportunity. Who said opportunity? You said yes. In failures you can find opportunities. In failures you can find innovation. Right? I know you're a bit hungry, so we'll break for lunch. Right? And when we come back at 2 o'clock, guys, please come back by 2 o'clock.
Yes.
Okay, 2 means 2. Okay. So everyone should be about 157. Right? Okay, bye-bye. Have a good lunch. And I hope history is not boring. Thank you.